All right. Okay, I got a ring, so let's change that some kind of way. All right, hold on. All right, I would imagine you have something now. Only thing, I got too much of reverb. Okay. All right, I'm gonna have to start all over again because are you hearing now? Testing one, two, three. All right. Test one. Yeah, you should be hearing now. All right, cool. All right. All right, I'm gonna start over. Okay, let's see. You hear the guitar chorus? Please forgive me. I always mess that. I do have like an interface, and if I unmute it, it will give a ring or something like that. So let me just cut down the reverb on this channel just a little bit. Boom, 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 boom. Test one, two, three. So I won't sound like I'm in an echo chamber. All right. So anyway, so one of my students have asked me, what do I do to memorize jazz standards or jazz songs? And one of the things that I do is uh, learn songs that I like. All right, but I had quoted a friend of mine and my teacher, and he's a great teacher. His name is Rodney Jones, and what he always bring up this point. There are 52 weeks in a year. If you learn a song, one song a week, at the end of that year, you should know 52 songs. 52 songs. But if it takes you 2 weeks to learn a song, at the end of the year, you should know 26 songs. And of course, 4 weeks give you 13 songs. But don't lose sight of the fact that 13 songs that you learn in that year is a lot better than not knowing any songs at all. Not, sometimes we spend a lot of time going all over the place with stuff. You know what I mean? Like all over the place. Excuse me a second. See. Okay. All right. So we go all over the place with stuff. Oh, I gotta learn these songs. I gotta learn these songs, and then you end up not learning any songs because you're all over the place. So what I would do, I would Google like what are the most important jazz songs to learn, and take the top 10 and say I'm going to start with those top 10s. What I suggest today is let's start with 5 songs. 5 songs, and let's cover the different styles of each one of those songs. For example, you would need a bossa, you would need a ballad, a mid-tempo, a up-tempo, and what we call a modal song. Songs like Impressions, songs like So What, those are modal songs where you're playing in modes. Um the up tempo song is the fast tempo songs, that's around 200 to 300, or sometimes, I mean, it's real, they're really fast. A mid tempo is more like around from 100, on up to 170 or something like that. Those are mid tempo songs. Ballads, of course, are slow songs. And then what did I say? Modal songs can be real fast, or they could be mid tempo too. So let's. This is for my student, one of my African students, which is a beautiful student. He everything I suggest to him, he works on it. So let's start with 5 songs. Those 5 songs would be Blue Bossa, which will cover the Bossa song, right? Uh, a mid-tempo song, something like Autumn Leaves. And these tunes that I'm mentioning here will probably be used in in jam sessions and stuff like that. So we have the bossa, blue bossa, a ballad like Misty, a mid-tempo, Autumn Leaves, not in any particular order either. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, I gotta learn. But listen, if you lock in and just do it, you always, and then I'm going to show you how I actually go about memorizing them. All right, so Then we're gonna have an up tempo. Let's pick a tune like Olio. Olio is a doop dee da ba da dee dee boop ba diddle doo 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 boop ba doo doo doo. Those, that's what we call rhythm changes. And then the modal song we could do impressions or Miles Davis. So what? All right, so those are our 5 songs. Let me kind of like write this down while I say it so I can remember the order that I'm saying them in. So we said Blue Bossa, which would cover the bossa song. Other people probably would say, oh, you know what? Girl from Ipanema, I would do. That's another bossa. Or there's so many different bossas and stuff like that. So we have Blue Bossa. Then we said Olio. That's a Miles Davis tune, which covers up tempo. All right. So we have a bossa. We have a up tempo. All right, then let's get a mid tempo, which would be something like Autumn Leaves. Now, these are my suggestions for my student. This is what I want him to learn. So we got mid tempo. Okay, then we're gonna have the 4th tune. We'll say ballad, and you know what ballad I'm gonna pick? I'm gonna pick Misty. All right, and then finally we have a modal tune. We could use the song So What. I know the melody of that. That's why I'm picking that one. So what are impressions? That's a John Coltrane tune. But those are modal tunes. Modal. All right. So I have the five types of jazz songs that I think that should be on your list. You have Blue Bossa, Olio, Autumn Leaves, and Misty, and finally So What as a modal tune. So let's start with Blue Bossa. Blue Bossa. I did a tutorial or a video not too long ago, and I just ran off the name of the chords of the song just based on me knowing the chords without my instrument. So it's almost like you could learn the chord progressions of the song before you learn the melody. That's what I would do. I would learn the chord progressions. And I could learn the chord progressions, believe it or not, even without my instrument. So I'm not even playing the instrument, but I know C minor, F minor, half diminished D to G7 altered to a C minor, B flat, E flat minor 7, A flat 7 to D flat major 7. Some use a G flat, some 13 chord. Some people don't. And then it goes to the 2-5 back to C minor, which would be D, G, and C minor. So I know those chords. Now, if we used what we call the number system, I probably have a little difficulty doing that. But if we was in the key of E flat, because C minor and E minor, that's like a theory lesson that we're not going to get into. All right, but if I gave this chord a number system, I probably use the key of E flat and say that C minor is a 6 chord. Right? But then I could also be in the key of C minor, and that C minor could be a 1 chord. So we're not going to get, into a number system with this. But what I would do is make sure that I would either break it down into, if I want 52 songs, I'll break it down learning a song a week, which would really be hard. Think about it, in 2 years, you'll have 104 songs. Wow. Maybe I should learn a song a week. Nah, but that's a lot. But some of these standards are kind of relative, and if you learn one, you could easily learn the other ones. But let's include not only learning the chord changes, but let's learn playing the melody. Now I want to say this. I probably can play songs in different keys and stuff like that, but on the guitar, it's easy to like just go up and have some. I mean, it's easy to kind of like. So, I mean, yeah, the guitar makes it easy to learn in the different keys. I'm not going to get into learning the different keys. But one thing I definitely do, if I'm learning a song, I'll play that song the first thing in the morning, and the last thing before I go to bed. So if I'm just working on the chord changes, I'm gonna play Blue Bossa. You know, I'm gonna play it. Then that's what I'll play before I go to bed. If I'm just working on the chord changes. Like that. And then once I play them like that, then I'll say them. C minor 7, F minor 7, D minor 7, half diminished, G7 to C minor 7, E flat minor 7 to A flat 7, D flat major 7, G flat 7, D minor 7, half diminished to G7, altered to C minor 7, then it turns around again. Then I'll play it again. Now I have series that I watch like Your Honor. And if I'm watching that series, I'll probably have my guitar in my hand, just playing the chords changes. Like, messing around with it. Rodney told me, yeah, this. I love that guy. Okay, now that's just playing the chord changes. I do suggest playing the chord changes in all keys because let me tell you this: when you do get a song in your system, oh, that was it. That's in another key, and I did it in another key, a fourth away. You know, and then I started seeing how it relates to, like, I know from that one or that B flat, I'm in the key of B flat minor now, or D flat major, I know I'm going up a minor third, and I'm playing a 2/5, a minor third away from whatever key I'm in. And then since C half diminished, like that, so it becomes simpler. You know what I mean? Because now you're challenging yourself to think. And when you start getting your mind involved, getting your fingers involved, getting your ears involved, those are three very essential things that your system is intaking. Not only that, but you have touch and your fingers are recorded. That's why I always tell my students to, like, practice at a pace where you're not making mistakes, because when you practice at a pace and you're making many mistakes, your fingers are actually recording those mistakes, and then it becomes almost like a habit to do bad things when you should be doing it slower, so your fingers are recording good things. So it's not how fast you do anything or things like that, but it's about how correct you're doing things. I make sure all the time my fingers, like most people when they look at me play and stuff like that, they'll say stuff like, "Oh man, why it looks so easy?" or "I could do that." You know what I'm saying? But it's just a matter of I do stuff very slow. So I got a C minor 7 chord. Now, if you only know how to make chords one way, let's say you have two C minor 7 shapes. Like you got this shape and you got this shape. Play the songs using those two shapes. Don't get into, oh man, I gotta learn this I gotta learn this big stretch and all that stuff. No. When you're memorizing songs, use the things that you know. Everybody should know four types of chords. You should know a minor 7 chord. You should know a major 7 chord. You should know a dominant 7 chord. and you should know a half diminished chord. Some people call it a minor 6 chord. I'm calling it the minor 7 flat 5 because it's taking the fifth degree of whatever. If it's a D minor chord, taking that fifth degree and lowering it a half step. So, but if you look at the fingering of it, it's the same thing as a F minor 6 chord. See that? But it's got a D in the bass. Same thing. Minor 6 chord. That one. All right. So you got that. So, but I don't want to get into the theory of this, but let's say you got to know a minor 7 chord, a major 7 chord, a dominant 7 chord, and a minor 7 flat 5 chord. If you know those 4 types of chords, you probably can get through any jazz standard. All right. So it'll be the first thing I do in the morning when I get up is play those chord progressions. This is just learning the chords now. When it comes to learning the melody, like there's one melody that has been a challenge for me, and I've been playing it for the last 2 years, and I'm still working on it. It's a tune called what's the name of it? Moody's Mood. You know, so, and I mean, and I play it. The first thing I do when I go to bed, right? And the last thing I do before I go to bed, and the first thing I do when I wake up. And then I've challenged myself. My son has a guitar. My son has a guitar in his room, and every time in the morning when I go upstairs and I pass his bedroom, or when I'm coming downstairs and I pass his bedroom, I go in that room and grab that guitar and I play the melody. Right? Every time. Because I want to learn that melody. When I was learning Donald Lee, I played that forever and ever and over again. Not at a speed thing, but as getting that melody down. I will get up in the morning, play it. Before I go to sleep, I'll play that song again. And I wouldn't lose interest in the song, but the discipline that you need to like step your game up in memorizing song, it takes a discipline. And in that discipline there should be joy of learning. You know what I mean? Inside the discipline should be a joy to learn. I get a kick out of being able to play a song. I get a kick out of it. Yo, it's like, oh, you know that song? Or when I play with the Nate Lucas All Stars, and when he called a tune that, man, I don't know, yo, it tears me up. And I'll like say, okay, when he called that tune again, and Nate, I love him, man. What he'll end up doing is a call a tune and he know I don't have it, and he won't call it again for a long time. But I would fumble over the tune again because it's not in my system, and the way you get a song in your system is by what Rodney Jones called rinse and repeat, or one of those terms he used, wax on, wax off, or something like that. I mean, it's just that repetition. That repetition of doing something is the magic behind, growing your game. You know what I mean? So I said Oleo is another tune. So we got Blue Bossa as a bossa. We have Oleo as a up-tempo song. Autumn Leaves as a mid-tempo tune. Misty as a ballad, and so what? So let's say today's date. I don't know what today's date is. Let me see. Look up there. What's okay? The day is March 21st, right? Yeah, yeah. It is. It is. It is. How you doing? Yeah, it is a. It is a. It is a. It is a discipline, man. But inside that discipline, it has to be the reward of the joy of what you get at the end of that discipline. You know what I mean? It's like, oh man, mission accomplished. There's nothing more rewarding than to accomplish something. You know what I mean? That is the reward. I mean, and also what I do too, like I'm a band leader, so usually I pick songs that the audience would like, or something that I would like, and in turn, in my expression of my love for the thing that I choose to play, the audience feel that, like sometimes I find myself when I play with somebody else's as a band leader, I'm playing their songs, but sometimes it takes like, am I really getting, or am I really enjoying those songs? Usually, when I play with Nate, it's the challenge of he picks some nice songs, yo. Nate, I don't know how he does it, man. I mean, he just knows a lot of tunes. Some people got that ability, I think my list of songs, it doesn't even matter. I got quite a bit, and I send those songs out like if I'm hiring somebody, and I let them know, I got uh, what. That's the Beatles. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, um, um, all kinds of stuff. Playing everything, but you gotta memorize those songs, and the songs that really stick with me are the songs that I probably grew up with. And what is that? That's what I grew up on. You know what I'm saying? So those kind of songs, kind of, you start hearing them. Now when you start intaking this information and learning these songs, you start recognizing these like certain movements. There's this discovery that I learned that rock songs, they go in fifths, and then R&B songs, they go in fourths. A lot of the jazz standards move in fourths, meaning on the guitar we go from A to a D. For example, Autumn Leaves, it moves in fourths, a fourth away, right? From A to D, and then go from D to G, from G to C, and then of course it goes outside of that, but then the next chord is a fourth away, and then another fourth, just like that. You know what I'm saying? So now suppose I only knew two minor seven chords, two major seven chords, two types of, when I say two types, meaning different voicings, like this is a G7 chord, and this is also a G7 chord. Those are two different types, or two different types of major seven chords. This is a major seven chord, or this is a major seven chord. A minor seven flat five, I know these two. Or those two different voicings. You know what I'm saying? So learn two types of each one of these chords: a minor seven, a major seven, a dominant seven, a minor seven flat five chord, and you will be able to get through any jazz standard. That's what I believe. Songs like Misty, another move. So now I just played Misty. I only use the two types. I got this type. I got this type of major seven chord. I got this type of minor seven chord, and I got this type of minor seven chord, or those two types. All right. Let me see if I can play Misty just using those two types of voicing. Got that minor seven. Got a dominant seven. My major seven. One of the two. A minor seven. Dominant seven. Minor seven. The two types. The two types. If I got fancy, but I'm just using those two types. You know what I mean? So that's what you do. Learn your two types of a minor seven, major seven, dominant seven, minor seven, flat five. Do these 5 songs. All right. Let's say I'm going to give you a week or 2 weeks to learn Blue Bossa. The first week you're going to just learn the chord changes. I want you to be able to play and say the chord changes without your instrument. That's one thing. That means that you really know the song as far as the chords go. Then I want you to play the melody of that particular song. There are backing tracks on YouTube where you could play the doom doom. You know, they're backing tracks, and just play the melody. And then another thing, make your song list or your playlist they have today. Before we had cassette tapes, and I would just record a song one time and I'll just play that same song. Like I have in my car right now, I've been playing George Benson playing with Dexter Gordon, and I want to transcribe that solo that he plays eventually. But I only been playing that one song in my car over and over. What is it? Something like that, but I can hear that solo in my head even when I'm not in the car. You know, I know that solo is in my head, but I've been listening to it. I've been living with it. You know what I'm saying? I'm looking at the clock. I've been a little longer than I anticipated. You know, so but I've been on here long enough. I'm almost getting ready to start repeating myself. But I hope that this is helpful. I have started what we call online jazz guitars. So, you know, like spread the word. Online jazz guitar is a place where the hobbyist, the person that, you know, that want to just basically learn some jazz standards and learn these 2 different type of chords that could take you through a whole song. You know what I'm saying? So it'll help you. It's called online jazz guitar. You know, stay aware of it. Again, this is for my student, my African student who I love. He calls me dad. I mean, I think that's a way that they respect, you know, the elders and those that are very helpful in their life. I met his parents, a really good guy, and I'm very proud of him. He's, like I said, he's always working. And he's always sharing too, which is what I decided to do, is to share, you know, my knowledge of music. And I'm not afraid to share it either. I mean, I think that we should all be able to give something to the community, something to the universe, you know, especially, you know, it's a God's gift, you know, and I appreciate it. I mean, oh man, I appreciate seeing the effect of that music have on people. You know, like I'll never forget a young man, I believe it was, our older gentleman. We were playing in a club called Gin Fizz, and the band was just, you know, playing, enjoying ourselves. And he said he had walked in with a heavy load, and by the time the end of the night, what he had contemplated doing, which was suicidal, he said the music just lifted him. You know what I mean? And that's what it is. So when you're learning songs, when you're growing your gifts and stuff like that, believe it, it's not only the joy that you get out of it, but it also the joy that other folks get out of it too. You know what I mean? So I'm reminded of my friend Vincent, which is gone on. Rest in peace, Vince. And then there was another brother too, gone on to be with the Lord. And what they say, how the music, how the way I played per se, affected their lives. And that's what it's about. So, and it's about giving back always. So, what are the 5 songs I want you to learn, young gun? Blue Bossa, Oleo, Autumn Leaves, Misty, and So What? We did that the other day. Did you do that twice? Oh, we left out. We left out. I'm gonna add this. I'm just throwing it in. We're missing a waltz. Woo! Why somebody didn't call that out? All right, the waltz could be something like bluesette. All right, we got to get a waltz in there. I like this waltz. This is called a child. Sorry about that. But a do. Oh, a fourth away. See those fourths? Boom, boom, boom. Then back a fourth away. I'll reharmonize. There go my 2 major 7 chords. And then -7. Now this is a major 7, but they got the 5th in the bass. I'll keep this keep moving. And then something like that. All right. So hope this will helpful. Listen, if you want to make a comment or so, like I've seen so many blues too. That's right. I mean, this list could keep growing. So let's put blues in there. I would put the blues under the mid-tempo tune. You know what I'm saying? Like that. What is it? I do a Buddha. Now that's called Walk Lucy by Dexter Gordon. And you play your dominant chord. Boom, F, and then like that. All right, we can add that too, a blues to it. You know what I mean? All right. So anyway, so that's 7 tunes. But Young Gun, I want you definitely learn Blue Bossa, and you got to play it. You got to be able to quote the chords. You got to be able to play the melody. Move to Oleo at a well. Let's put Oleo like probably after the mid tempo. Let's go to mid tempo next. So we're gonna have Blue Bossa 1, Autumn Leaves 2, which you probably know already. Number 3, Oleo, the ballad 4. And So What, the modal tune 5, and then Bluesette, which is the waltz 6, and then someone mentioned up there the blues 7. You can pick any blues that you want. What is that? Da da doo dee doo 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 down boo doo boom. You could do that too. That's a nice one. All right, that's by Thelonious Monk. All right. I'm trying to say goodbye because I know I probably left 50 people or maybe 100 folks behind already. But this is for my young gun so he could grow his vocabulary of jazz standards. What's in your vocabulary? Anyway, God bless, and I love you guys. Peace.